Do you ever feel like you're doing everything right in relationships, putting others before yourself, trying to please them, always trying to be Mr. Perfect, but you still end up feeling resentful and ultimately unfulfilled? You might be a nice guy. Today in this video, we're going to be breaking down some of the key concepts and takeaways from the book No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover. So let's define what a nice guy is. Dr. Glover says that a nice guy is not someone who is genuinely nice or genuinely kind. It's a survival strategy meant to accomplish two things. One, external validation from others, and two, hiding their own personal flaws that they're unwilling to come to terms with. So the core belief of a nice guy, or the core belief of nice guy syndrome, is this. A guy thinks if I can hide my flaws and I can be what everybody else wants me to be, I'll be loved, have my needs met, and I'll have a problem-free life. But the reality check is this. Because this mindset suppresses and represses a guy's true feelings, nice guys are often secretly dishonest, passive-aggressive, and harbor deep feelings of resentment. And when their unspoken expectations and needs aren't met, they often erupt in anger and rage. This brings us to one of the book's most famous and core concepts, covert contracts. Nice guys live by three completely unspoken and subconscious contracts with the world. Number one, if I'm good, everyone will approve of me and love me. Number two, if I meet other people's needs without them asking, then they will meet my needs without asking in return. And number three, if I do everything right, I will have a smooth, problem-free life. And the reason that all three of these fail is because they are never communicated with other people. Because these contracts are entirely internal and they're not communicated with the outside world, they fail. This leaves the nice guy incredibly bitter and basically feeling like a victim in the world. So before we even talk about fixing this, we have to look deeper and understand the root cause of the problem and where it comes from. Nice guy syndrome is deeply rooted in childhood conditioning. It comes from toxic shame and early experiences of abandonment, which forces a child to hide his true self just to stay safe. This conditioning shows up prominently in adult relationship dynamics. Nice guys naturally gravitate towards people and women who appear flawed, damaged, dramatic, often called fixer-uppers. If their woman is the one who has all of these obvious outside problems, then the nice guy will focus all of his energy on fixing them, which allows him to completely avoid looking at himself and his own flaws. By trying to rescue these damaged women or these fixer-uppers, nice guys fall into this inevitable, never-ending cycle of drama. Step one in the cycle is being the rescuer. It's attaching yourself to someone who has a victim mentality and that needs to be saved. The second step in that cycle is turning into the victim. So when their help is offered and it's either not celebrated or even rejected outright, they become bitter and resentful. And then the third step is becoming the persecutor. When this resentment builds up on a long enough timeline, they will eventually blow their lid. It will eventually result in an outburst, and then they will lash out at their woman. And then they're right back to square one being the rescuer because they're so ashamed of themselves about lashing out, and they don't want to push that woman away that they go right back into doing the nice guy tendencies over and over again. And it's an endless and vicious cycle that they never get out of. Nice guy syndrome also comes from a deeply dysfunctional relationship that a man has with his own sexuality. Nice guys often have a huge sense of shame when it comes to sex or being sexual, that being sexual or having sexual needs or desires is seen as shameful or even predatory. They constantly worry that expressing their sexual desires and their sexual appetites is going to creep out or push away women. This is what leads to the sexual covert contract, which is just as damaging as the other three we talked about, that many men find themselves in when they're in dead bedrooms or sexist relationships. Instead of expressing their intent and sexual desire to a woman directly and making it known that they have sexual desire towards her, they will resort to things like doing chores, doing favors, essentially being a good boy in the hopes that she will reward him with sex. This is not something that attracts women, and this often results in more resentment being built up. And it's just a fundamental lack of understanding about what turns women on and what makes them aroused. But that's something we can talk about different time, different day. Part of breaking free and killing the nice guy is about reclaiming your sexual power and understanding that your sexual nature as a man is not something that is predatory. It is not something you should be ashamed of, and it is definitely not something you need to apologize for. And again, a lot of nice guy syndrome derives from being raised by women. being raised primarily by women in your household, having primarily female teachers, and just being primarily in a feminine and female environment. This inevitably leads nice guys to grow up seeking female validation. So, what are some things that guys can do to break free with that? Well, we already talked about reclaiming your sexual power and putting away your sexual shame, but you also need to develop relationships with other strong, virtuous, masculine men. You need to develop non competitive male relationships. You need to realize that these are the guys that will accept you without judgment. You're not trying to get anything from them. They're the kind of guys that are going to be living the same experience as you. And guess what? If you're a nice guy, a lot of guys out there are. You are definitely not alone. I'm a former nice guy myself, and I know there's a lot of guys that were nice guys and that are no longer. And we are the kind of guys that you can look to and lean on for when you want to break free of these patterns. So, what does the blueprint for recovery from nice guy syndrome actually look like? It's a 4-step process. Number one, you need to own your needs. You need to stop waiting for people to guess what you want, and you need to go for it unapologetically and even tell them directly what you want. Number two, you need to accept imperfection. You need to be able to own your flaws or own your opinions and own your stance, share your mistakes, and share your true feelings with people that are not going to judge you or use the information to stab you in your back and use it against you. Number three, you need to prioritize your needs. You need to understand that taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's actually selfless. If you don't take care of yourself, then how are you going to be able to take care of your people? You taking care of yourself first and making sure your needs are met and that you are healthy and that you are somebody who has the capability to lead the relationship is the best thing that you could offer a woman or even your kids. And number four is you need to find a way to approve of yourself or become a man that you approve of. You need to stop looking at your boss or your wife, your woman, your girlfriend, your kids, your coworkers, whoever for validation. That validation is only going to come from within. So how do we get there? There's 3 practical exercises that you can use to kind of start that road to recovery and get your way out of nice guy hell. Number one, find a safe person or a group. Find at least one trusted person. Ideally, it's a male friend or a brother or somebody that has been through the kind of shit that you've been through. This is who you can reveal your darkest secrets, needs, desires, fears, and they're not going to judge you for it. The best way to kill that toxic shame is realizing that you are not going to be shamed for being imperfect because we all are flawed. Number two, when it comes to boundaries, use the 3-second rule. When somebody asks you to do something that you don't want to do, just take a 3-second pause and listen to your body and see how you react. If you have any sort of negative feelings or apprehension or any sort of anxiety that pops up, just say, no, I can't do that, or no, that's not something I'm going to do. You don't have to explain yourself. You simply just say, no is the answer. And then the third one is, and this is going to be really difficult for a lot of people, but this is maybe the most important of the 3, is you need to spend time alone. You need to learn how to be by yourself. And I'm not talking about sitting at home watching TV or scrolling on dating apps. You really need to learn how to be alone and just spend some time in silence. There's a reason that I take a group of men twice a year up to Algonquin Park in Toronto, where we have no phones, no television. And the big part of that trip is everybody going off on their own for 6, 7, 8 hours at a time and just being with themselves and their thoughts. So if you can put all of these 3 together, you're going to be on that road to recovery from nice guy syndrome. I hope you guys enjoyed this sort of dive into that book. I think it's extremely powerful. Every man on this planet should read it. It's probably time for me to pick it up and read it again myself. If you ever want to get one-on-one help from me, just DM me on one of my channels below, whether that's Instagram or X. I'm probably more active on Instagram. If you want to kind of figure out where you might be screwing up in your dating life, click the link below to grab my free dating diagnostic tool. And if it resonates with you and you're looking to get the entire course, you can grab the digital attraction blueprint down below as well. One payment of $9.97 and it's yours forever. It comes with a 26-page workbook as well as a ton of video modules so you can work as you go along. And it's built so you can go from being a complete novice or having no options whatsoever to creating the options, the abundance, and then the relationship of your dreams. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you on the next video.